Okay, you can see the JK is very polished up. Probably the most polished this thing's ever been. It turned out really, really good. I had somebody detail it. Looks really good. What does that mean? That means it's for sale. New Project 2-door JL. Cool color. Yes, it looks extremely ugly with these silly little 32s.
It's so tiny.
It is reconstructed title, just how I like them, because then I don't take the monetary loss of scratching and denting it. Apparently, somebody was down in Moab and they were dropping down and it dropped a right front into a hole and it kind of tipped up and it crunched the hood, this cowl piece, and the windshield frame. And they replaced that, painted it, and I ended up getting it for a pretty good deal. It came on 35s. I sold those to be into it a little cheaper because I'm not going to be using 35s on it. I got some pretty big plans for it. It's got some things. It's got bumpers, deviate flares, inner fenders, the rear spare adapter thing to raise it up a little bit. It's got a Mopar 2-inch lift. It's got these Auto Links sway bar disconnects, which seem really cool. I'm probably going to keep those. Front bumper, worn winch. It's 8,000, but I think it'll be fine for this. A few things, but nothing too crazy. It is an 8-speed automatic, which, if you know me, I've owned, I think, like 60 vehicles, and 4 have been automatics. And one of those is my truck, which they don't make in a manual, and that's the only reason that one's an auto. But every other auto that I've owned has been bought just to resell. This one, I specifically was looking for an auto. This, if you don't know, these come with an 8-speed auto, and they're a really good auto. Ultra low first gear, and it's still a good overdrive, so you have a very wide selection of gears, and it gets really good mileage for a Jeep because of the fact that it's always in kind of the prime rev range in the motor. Some of the stuff I'm wanting to do to it, I don't know exactly what I'll do. Maybe you already peeped those. So these are the axles out of my dad's Gladiator. So Rubicon Gladiator axles with the bigger brakes and E-lockers. I'm tearing them down today. We'll talk about that a little later. And then think I'm going to be using these 38s on bead grips, at least until they wear out. Then this thing's going to go to 40s. I'm going to do a tighter clearance bumper, front and rear, better rock sliders than these because they don't really protect the body much. I want to do a frame chop bumper. We'll see if that's in the cards. And I'm definitely getting rid of these. They're cool, but if I'm having a JL, it's going to be highlined. So higher arch flares, couple interior goodies. For the lift, of course, we're going to go with Clayton. I've gone to Clayton on my dad's Jeep, my uncle's Gladiator, and my TJ, and we've never ever lost a joint, which is crazy because I've had that on the TJ for like 15 years or something. Metal cloak on that. Great lift, great riding lift, but the joints don't seem to last if you're really beating on them and flexing them out. But more to come. I'm excited about this thing. We got quite a few companies on board with the build so far. We got Oxbeam, of course. Those guys are always killer to work with, and I'm excited to have their support on this. It's gonna get some real cool stuff. Nemesis Industries. You guys might not have heard of them. They don't really advertise a whole lot and they don't have a huge presence, but man, they're American made and they make some really good stuff. You guys will see that. I got a Rubicon T case on the way. In fact, that might be here tomorrow. So I got all kinds of stuff coming for this thing. I haven't decided on a lift height yet. It's either going to be 2.5 or 3.5. I'm kind of leaning towards trying to keep it 2.5 with 40s and some trimming. We'll see. All right, just bought this brand new Jeep. Well, new to me. With the inaugural first burnout done, it was finally time to get started on this thing, and that meant tearing down these Jeep Gladiator Rubicon axles. I'm going to take this thing off and get rid of it. This is the central axle disconnect. So what this thing does is this axle shaft here comes in, it's got a set of splines here, a set of splines here, and then it goes into your differential. So when you take it out of four-wheel drive, it takes a collar and it slides it one way or the other. I'm not sure. I guess we'll see when we open it up. To disconnect this axle. So that way, when this is spinning, when you're going down the road in two-wheel drive, it sits there and spins this, but it's not connected to the diff. So it doesn't spin your drive line. And you may be thinking, well, what about the other one? Well, when this is in open differential configuration, meaning the E-locker is not locked, it's just going to spin the spider gear, therefore not spinning the drive line and not creating a parasitic drag while you're driving down the road in two-wheel drive. The whole point of it, fuel mileage, which is cool, especially with today's gas prices, but it creates a weak point in this axle, and we don't want that. So I'm going to go with a set of chromoly shafts that's a one-piece shaft that goes through here. So let's get it off, see how it works. So we'll save those bolts because I got a block-off plate that goes there. And there's the little shift fork that slides it towards the diff, and I'm making a mess, of course. There we go. There's connected, disconnected. Nice, really, really clean, etched 10 factory block-off plate. Cheap. I want to say it was like $25 or something. I cracked these loose ahead of time. Hopefully this unit bearing comes off smooth. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But there's a trick for that. There we go. The axle just slides right out, which I'll show you in here. There we go. There's that, which slides on that. Then that guy, yeah, just slides right out. Hopefully. Maybe not. Oh, I think I gotta take that circlip off. Then it'll slide right out. Time to watch some YouTube videos. Well, I got that thing off. There's no real good method, I would say. I had to use 2 screwdrivers pushing on it with my leg wrapped around it, holding the axle so I wouldn't push it off the jack stands. It wasn't pretty. It was kind of like yoga. And I think it would be easier to do if this was in the vehicle, but obviously it's not. So I had to like put it in a leg lock. And obviously there's no way to video while I was doing so. But now, should be able to slide it right out. I think. Oh yeah. I'm shocked at how beefy those axles are. They're good size. Since that surface has a gasket with a rubber mating surface, I think I can just throw this thing on. Boom. These axles are stripped down and they are going to Logan. That's you know Logan. He's got the Turbo 3RZ 2nd gen. He's gonna re-gear them for me. These came out of a diesel, so they are I think they're 373 gears. They're diesel Rubicon. So he's gonna do 513s. I got the install kit, the 513s, and a set of Yukon chromoly shafts on the way. They should be here tomorrow. Interesting observation about these axles. So they got your heat press on collar right here. They also got a snap ring and a huge bearing. And then the size of the axle itself. So let's measure this. Inch and 3/4. So then you follow it up and it has this taper. Tapers down to about 1.58. Then you follow it up some more. It has this other taper. I don't know why they do this. So 1.45. Follow it up just before the splines. Has one more taper. 1.33. There are 32 spline shafts, which is pretty good for a stock rig, especially when I go to chromoly's. But can you imagine, because this is, this is the choke point at the mating surface or the bearing inner race diameter right here. If it just stayed this thick at frickin' 1.7 about, yeah, 1.7 inches. If it stayed that, these would be, at least equal to my 35 splines in the TJ. Like, come on, Jeep, you could have done it. You could have built the ultimate rear end that no one would ever have to swap with just putting a different carrier and making it a full-size shaft instead of this taper, and this taper. All right, I'm taking this side apart. A note to mention, if you're taking these apart, all the bolts on the axle flange and the brakes are all 18 millimeter. Somebody online said some of them were 19s. They're all 18s. A 19 will slip, and they all have Loctite. But you take these 6 bolts off, and then you should be able to just pop that thing off there. All right. Once you get the rotor off, you got all your bolts off. Things move pretty freely, but the seal is stuck in there pretty good. So this is the method I used. 2 pry bars, 1 on each side. I'll try to film it the best I can. There we go. Then the axle slides out. What are we weighing today? What's your guys' guesses? Oh, that's pretty light. I'm pulling off these fender flares because we're gonna go with some Nemesis Industries ones, which have a much higher arch. I want you guys to pay attention. Like this is, I'm gonna say that's at least 3 inches down from the hood line. So once the other ones show up, we'll look at the placement of where the tire needs to clear, and we'll see what the difference is. I think it'll be substantial. All right, we're taking this winch off of the bumper and then removing the bumper because I'm going with something different. Holy crap, this winch is extremely light compared to the Badlands 12,000. You know, it's always kind of funny, some of the things you find in a used vehicle. Check this out. This cut-off wiring harness. And I believe, let's see here if I can dig in there. I believe that actually goes up there and then it goes into the frame. I think that was for towing this behind a motorhome because I see it's wired into the taillights and stuff. So then it makes me kind of wonder, like, how many miles are actually on this Jeep and how many were just towed behind a motorhome?